Going to be part 2 to the video I done the other day on the Geiger counter, and this time I'm actually going to show the different pieces of glass, how they react, and just to kind of give an idea, and then I'll kind of summarize and wrap it all up. So let me reposition the camera real quick and I'll get this thing started. Can see all that okay. These are the 4 pieces I'm going to test. We've got a little tray from the 1890s, late 1890s. I've got the little salt cellar from Westmoreland Glass, 1920s. And then I have a piece from Mosser Glass that was made about 6 or 8 months ago, just made this year. And last but not least, the Fiestaware. So let's see what we can come up with here. I'm going to do this on the millirems an hour. We'll go to counts per minute just to make it a little more interesting, because you get a higher number that way. So for this first minute here, see if I can get that to focus at all. We'll let it set here and see how it goes. Let me turn the audio on. So we'll let this one go for 1 minute to get a background reading. And we'll see how much the glass actually affects everything. So as you can tell, the background level is very low in the area that I'm at. It ticks very slowly. So you don't get a very high reading at all. And that's all counts per minute is it counts every time you hear the little click or when the light blinks. So it's very very low in this area. Normally I don't wait around here for the clicks and everything, but since it's on video, so we average about 12. We got about a number 12. So let's test the oldest piece of glass here. See if I can focus this okay. Here we go. And we'll leave this here until it updates again. That'll give us an idea. As you can hear, it ticks a lot faster than what the background did. The newer models of these counters update every 3 to 5 seconds. This one, being an older model, is 1 minute, but for my purposes it does okay. So let's see here. Should be getting close. And as you can see, that jumped up to 46. So we started at about 12 and that went clear to 46. So that's a pretty decent increase. So now let's go back and test the little salt cellar. See what we get here as far as a 1 minute reading. Actually, to make this more accurate, just for sake of the video, I'll shut it off, turn it back on. And we know 12 was our background. So hopefully y'all can see this okay. The lighting's not the best. And we'll see what we get here after the 1 minute mark. We had 46 on the last piece. This way I have a counter on here and I actually know when the minute's up. So you can actually see, you know, that it's actually getting more radioactive. The last was at 46. And this being a newer piece, remember this is the 1920s, it's actually higher than what the older piece was. So we ended up with 51. So that's slightly higher than a piece that was from the late 1890s. Now, shut it off again. Put it back on. Now we'll test the new glass. This was made, like I said, about 6 or 8 months ago. And we'll see how it compares. I hope this comes out alright. I'll put a notation on the screen of each of these readings. We'll see what kind of reading we get here. So as you can see, this one seems to tick up quite a bit faster. Now, if the Geiger counter had a larger alpha window, it would actually pick up slightly better. But with the smaller window, it doesn't go quite as high as some of the scientific equipment that I've used. And I will put some photos in the video as well that you can see of some of the higher readings with some more scientific equipment. But that got 73. So, as you can see, the 3 pieces, the older pieces were actually less. Now, you may be thinking the reason for that is that it's just wearing out, you know, less radiation over time. That is technically not true. It takes 4.5 billion years for this stuff to no longer be radioactive and completely decay. What is actually happening is, over time, the uranium that is added to the glass itself is in a more pure form. So more pure, it's giving off more. Now we'll go to the Fiestaware. Let me see if I can get this. And as you can see with this stuff goes crazy. And we'll get a 1-minute reading on this. So about 71 or so was the highest we got off of any of the glass. And this stuff here just screams on the counter. Try to back up some. So we'll see how this turns out here. So the Fiestaware is definitely an interesting thing in and of itself. Now, as far as the... Okay, that got up to 773 counts in 1 minute. Now, as I've mentioned previous videos and before... Let me get the camera back here for a second. The uranium glass itself is fine. I use mine all the time, not a big deal. Because the uranium part is low, and it's... Okay, as I was saying before, I had to change SD cards real fast. The uranium glass, as far as that goes, is safe, like I said, because there's very little radiation in it, as we saw in the type, which is mainly alpha particles. That you know, doesn't penetrate, as I said in the first video. So there's really not a concern there. I use mine. Now the Fiestaware, on the other hand, that's another story where the uranium is actually in the glaze. That's how it got this red color. So as over time, as you're using these bowls, plates, cups, whatever, I've heard a lot of varying statistics, up to 1/3 of a gram of the glaze, and I don't know what percentage of that would be uranium. I don't have any way of knowing, but over time, with your silverware, fork, spoons, knives, whatever, hitting the piece and chipping off small pieces of the glaze, then you actually are ingesting uranium. And is it a big deal for everybody? Probably not, but I don't think taking any amount of radiation necessarily internally like that is a good thing. I mean, if you've got problems in your family with cancers and things, I mean, eating off of it once in a blue moon gonna hurt you? No. But if somebody were to have a whole set of these, you know, that was the only dishes you wanted to use for, you know, everyday use, then yes. But there's a lot of modern Fiestaware that looks identical but is completely safe. They stopped using this formula in around 72, 73. The newer stuff, which this one's not marked, but the newer stuff that I have seen will say lead free on the bottom, and I've tested it as well with the Geiger counter, and it does nothing. It's fine. So if you want to use Fiestaware, just get some of the newer stuff. It'll be a whole lot cheaper anyway, because this stuff, not expensive, but it can be just from an antique point of view, and now people know that it's radioactive. They sell it on eBay and stuff for, I guess you would say, a novelty factor. But that's pretty much all I wanted to kind of put in this video. Was the uranium glass is fine, don't worry about it, just use it, have fun with it. Hey, if you got friends and stuff, hook up some black lights, have a little party, use the uranium glass and have fun with it. But as far as the Fiestaware, newer stuff is fine. The older stuff, just be careful. You know, you can collect it, whatever, but just, like I say, just use a little common sense. I wouldn't necessarily want to eat off of it, but handling it is one thing. But trying to use it, that's a whole nother thing, because you don't want to ingest any of it. That's the main point of it. So if anybody has any questions concerning any of the glass or the Geiger counter itself, drop me a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer you, or I will at least find you an answer. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to kind of put it out there, showing people the differences and how kind of crazy it reacts. And you would get a lot of higher numbers, like I said, with some of the fancier Geiger counters that have the bigger alpha window. For purposes of what I was doing here, this one seems to do just fine. So that's pretty much it. So please like, favor, share the video and all that if you found it interesting. And if not, let me know what you'd like to see next. If you got any questions, concerns, or anything I could do better, let me know. And I'll catch you guys next time.